Zeus, king of the Greek gods, the war that made him. In Greek mythology, Zeus is the king of the gods, lord of the sky, thunder, and divine law, ruling from Mount Olympus. But Zeus wasn't born a king. He became one in a war that nearly broke the universe. When lightning split the sky, the ancient Greeks didn't hear weather. They heard authority, a power that could protect the world or punish it. And behind that thunder was a story older than heroes, older than cities, a family story written in fear. In the beginning, the world of the gods belonged to the Titans, ancient, immense, elemental, and their ruler was Cronus. Cronus didn't inherit the throne peacefully. He took it, overthrowing his own father. And that single act planted a curse into his reign. What is seized by violence is always haunted by the fear of being taken back. A prophecy came to Cronus. Cold as iron, one of his children would overthrow him. So Cronus did what tyrants do when they feel the future closing in. He tried to swallow it. One by one, his children were born, and one by one, Cronus devoured them. Not out of hunger, but out of terror. To Cronus, they weren't children. They were threats with names. But their mother, Rhea, refused to let every cradle become a grave. When her youngest child was born, Zeus, she chose deception over despair. She hid the baby, and she gave Cronus a stone wrapped like an infant. Cronus swallowed the stone and believed he had swallowed fate. He was wrong. Somewhere far from the throne of fear, Zeus grew up in secret, not as a pampered prince, but as a survivor raised for a single purpose. Because in Greek myth, power is never just strength. Power is timing. Power is strategy. Power is knowing when the old world is ready to crack. And when Zeus was grown, he returned, not to beg for a place at his father's table, but to flip the table over. Zeus confronted Cronus, and somehow, in the tangle of myth, Cronus was forced to release what he had swallowed. Out came Zeus's siblings, alive. Hera, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, Hestia. The next generation denied their lives, now demanding their world. And in that moment, the universe took a breath, because the children of Cronus didn't just return. They returned with a decision: war. The Titanomachy wasn't a battle. It was a cosmic civil war. Old order versus new, ancient force versus rising authority. The Titans stood like mountains that could think. The young gods stood like storms that could choose. In later tellings, especially in Hesiod's Theogony, Zeus seeks allies imprisoned deep beneath the world. The Cyclopes, master smiths of divine weapons, and the 100-handers, beings of overwhelming force. Myth isn't a history textbook, but it is a truth-telling machine. It shows you what a culture believes it takes to win. Not just courage, not just strength, allies, tools, and a leader willing to carry the cost. And then the Cyclopes forge the symbol that will define Zeus forever. The thunderbolt. Not a spear, not a sword, something stranger, something final. A piece of the sky made into a weapon, light turned into judgment. From that moment, Zeus is no longer simply the youngest son. He becomes a new kind of ruler, one who controls the boundary between chaos and order. And when Zeus hurls the thunderbolt in myth, it isn't only destruction, it's definition. It draws a line through the cosmos and says, this is where the old world ends. The Titans fall. In many versions, they are cast into Tartarus, sealed away in the deep, dark underworld. Not because Zeus is merciful, but because the old powers cannot be allowed to return. And then Zeus does something more important than winning the war. He builds the world after it. Because victory is easy to celebrate, order is harder to maintain. So Zeus and his brothers divide the realms, the sky, the sea, the underworld. And Zeus takes the sky, not only as territory, but as a throne visible to everyone, above every city, above every king, above every oath. To the Greeks, Zeus wasn't just a character. He was a force that held society together. His domains weren't only storms. They were the rules storms represented: authority, law, consequence. That's why Zeus had epithets, titles, each one a different doorway into his power. Zeus Olympios, enthroned above, the public face of divine rule. Zeus Keraunios, the thunderer, the bolt in the dark. Zeus Horkios, guardian of oaths, punisher of perjury. Zeus Xenios, protector of guests and strangers, because hospitality was sacred. Zeus Basileus, the kingly Zeus, law behind the crown. And his presence is old. His name appears in Bronze Age records written in Linear B, long before classical poets shaped these stories into the forms we know. So when Greeks looked up at a storm, they didn't only see nature, they saw a reminder: a ruler exists, and order has teeth. Here on Mythos and History, we don't just retell myths, we trace what they were built to explain: power, fear, justice, and the price of a world kept in balance. Zeus is not the gentle sky. He is the sky that can punish, the sky that can crown, the sky that remembers. Because the Titanomachy isn't only the story of how Zeus won, it's the story of why the ancient world believed the universe needed a king in the first place. Zeus was never meant to be gentle. He was meant to be certain. Law written in lightning.